we can go over this real quick. Why don't we? Sort of take a look at where we are. So this is like 1 day into leveling in the beginning of Diablo 4 Season 1. What we're doing this time around is I'm thinking we played Rend a ton in Season 0. We played Hoda a little bit at the end and liked it. Both of those were good. I bet they're both still good. But I'm trying to do something a little bit different, so we're doing a double swing. Right now, we've got not good gear on my character, but I did want to go over some of the aspects that I'm using, just due to the fact that all of these, except for a couple of them that I've found, are things that you can get out of the codex. So I may swap these two, ideally. Maybe Disobedience goes on the neck and the Barrier goes on the helmet, but whatever. You put Disobedience on something, that's from codex. Now, this is not from the codex. This is something I found. When there are at least 5 close enemies, stun them for 4 seconds. This can only occur once every 20 seconds. This is one of the new aspects, and it is awesome, especially for double swing, because double swing is all about like stunning targets, hitting them, and getting a ton of rage like from hitting them, and then doing a bunch of damage with that setup. So really, really fun. More stuns, the better. It's awesome. Speaking of stuns, I have anemia on my gloves. Again, like min-maxing your gear at level 30 is not necessary, but I do have life and armor on my helmet. I do have percent armor on my chest with like stats, which is fine. I have ranks to my main ability on my gloves with some crit and strength, which is cool. The legs are kind of like whatever. They have armor and life, which is fine. But this is another aspect that's really good for me, because double swing is going to be doing a lot of stunning and a lot of berserk uptime. So lucky hit, chance to gain fortify whenever you deal damage while berserking is excellent for me, because we're going to need a source of fortify. We don't really have that many good ones at low level, but this is a good one. I went ahead and put berserk extension on the boots. They also have movement speed and fury cost reduction, and with some strength. I mean, again, my gear is not min-maxed because I'm level 31, but I actually have some good stuff. I have some stats that I like on here. On the two-hander, I put Edge Master on here. There's nothing really to see except for maybe core damage on this thing. I haven't spent a lot of time re-rolling, but I did spend a little bit of resources just slapping some aspects on here. I guess I gotta re-roll this thing. I forgot that we already had that. I think I put that on there. Where's the stun one already? Oh, it's literally the next weapon over. Okay, so I need to put like attack speed on this weapon. So we'll do attack speed here, and then we'll do the stun chance on the other weapon. So basic attack speed, stun chance. I don't have resources that I need to put an enchant on this one. So we're gonna have to wait on that. I did get a really funny one, the Dust Devil. I've never used Dust Devils before in my build, but now we can use Dust Devils, and it's actually really good because double swing generates a ton of fury. So we'll go over the skills a little bit, and we're also just using a random Brutal Heart. It gives me more healing when I'm low health, which is fine. Echoing Fury, this is a shout. Skills generate rage. You get this from your codex as well. And I do have resource draining effects are less effective, which is whatever, but the main thing is you generate more resource, which is very helpful. So that's like a good low-level Devious Heart. And then we have Barrier Generation, which is not that big of a deal, but this amulet does have movement speed and all defensive skills on it, which is pretty crazy, and crowd control duration, so my stuns last a little bit longer. All of these things are things I could spend resources upgrading. I'm not sure it's really worth it, but it is kind of cool to have a plus defensive skills amulet at level 30, right? Some things to look out for are whenever I get enough attack speed, like whenever I finally can get high level to drop accelerating, we'll put that on a two-hander, and we will be stunning things constantly, which will be, well, knock things down constantly, which will be insane for double swings, rage generation, and damage. So this build has a lot of really cool possibilities. For expertise, I'm actually going to use two-handed sword expertise, so I always inflict the bleed, so I can always have the ability to proc a stun with anemia. In my gems, I'm probably just left doing thorns right now in the armor, and I'm using skulls in my weapons just for life on kill, and then for just doing more damage, because there's no real defenses that you're going to need this low level, I don't think. And the offenses that you get, like, you're not going to have a better crit damage against like stun targets, because you don't really crit enough to have it be worth it. So I'm just taking the healing on kill. In terms of the talents, there's some things that you could do here to switch, like how you generate rage and how you generate berserk, but I'll just kind of show you what I'm working with. So my main attack is lunging strike that applies a bleed. teeny tiny little bit of healing, a little bit of bleed, because you don't really crit enough to benefit from the berserking part of it. Maybe you will later though. Go ahead and put points in double swing. I'm maxing it out, and I'm getting a couple more ranks of it from my gloves. Again, my gloves and like necklace aren't upgraded, so I don't know if I upgraded them even at this low level if they would then give me another like plus skill. They might, but we'll see. Either way, double swing is very neat. If double swing damages a stunned or knockdown enemy, it generates 25 fury, and then casting double swing while berserking grants an additional 2 seconds of berserking, or you could go for hitting an enemy with both hits of double swing. So you take 2 weapons and you go whoosh, whoosh, and if you hit them with both swings, like right in the middle, it makes them vulnerable for 2 seconds. So you either have ultra reliable berserking or ultra reliable vulnerability just from double swing alone. And so you can kind of play with that as the build goes on. We're taking ground stomp for an on-demand stun, even though we have an on-demand stun. We have a 5 enemies are around me AoE stun. We have a chance to proc a stun off of anemia, and spoiler alert, we have a chance to stun down here in the tree too. So there's a lot of stunning effects going on, and that leads to you having lots and lots of rage and like really smooth gameplay even at low level. It's very cool. So this would be like the leveling variant. I probably will, you will see, like we did with Rend, you'll see me doing lots of different things in the build as time goes on. But ground stomp is getting a stun, obviously. Ground stomp lasts a little longer now, so that's more wailing on people with double swing. But this got buffed to give you 40 fury now, so it's a really nice chunk of fury to get your double swing going. So as soon as you stun somebody, you can double swing, and then it just keeps feeding you rage. It keeps on doing damage, which is great. Speaking of rage generation, we're taking Rallying Cry with the Unstoppable and the extra fury generation on there. We are not at this juncture using Challenging Shout. If I were to focus on PvP, I may do Triple Shout Iron Skin like we did with Rend and Hoda, but we'll see. We'll see. This is a leveling build, first things first, but I do want to do PvP soon. We are going for Warcry to grant us berserking and to do more damage. So we have a source of berserking to extend our berserk. Go down here. Guys, Death Blow, I didn't really use it very much when I was leveling in Season 0, but I used it in beta and liked it a lot. Death Blow will carry you so hard in your leveling. Once you can get to Death Blow, go ahead and take it no matter what main skill you're using. Deals extra damage to bosses that got buffed. Now you can use Death Blow to either generate Fury, which I really like, or to generate Berserk if you need a Berserk in your build. And eventually you can get the aspect where you get 2 charges of your weapons mastery skills, and then you really pop off with that, which is really fun. So Perma Berserk is one of the things this build can do, and it can do it a variety of different ways. This is one of them. Okay, but I like the Fury right now. The Fury feels pretty smooth. We are going 1 point to Pit Fighter to get access to 1 point to No Mercy. These are doing more damage to close, reduced damage taken from distant. This is enemies that are CC'd. You have extra critical strike chance against them, and you stun things a lot, and you're gonna slow things a lot too. So this is good. But the really thing that we want is the exposed vulnerability. Whenever dealing direct damage with a weapon mastery skill, which is for us Death Blow. It could be chains too. It could be chains. But right now we're using Death Blow. Your next double swing will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. So again, you have various means of applying vulnerability and berserking, which are important damage buffs for you. But I went ahead and put 3 points in this. I did put 1 point in Hamstring. It's only going to, your bleeds are only going to slow enemies when they're high health, but a lot of times you're lunging strike to something, and then you're hitting it with lunging strike, it applies a bleed, they're healthy, so now they will take extra damage from you and your damage to CC targets for at least a period of time. So I put that in there, and I think it'll be good for PvP just because charging somebody with lunging strike, slowing them means they can't get away immediately. And if they are kiting you and they're full health, then they get slowed if they're bleeding, so that's good. Down here, in the ultimate side of things, we're taking 1 point in Wallop to take 3 points in Concussion, which is giving us a chance to stun things. And what we're doing with Double Swing is we are using 2 one-handed maces. So we are benefiting from this a lot. Have a 30% chance to stun enemies for 3.27 seconds, or up to 45% chance using a 2-handed bludgeoning weapon. We're probably just going to use the one-handers for lunging strike and for the dual swing though, so keep that in mind. But yeah, it's just another chance to stun things, which is awesome. And then down here, I am currently using Walking Arsenal because I just said that I was using the one-handers for PvP. Like, we'll do that for PvP. Right now, I'm using a slashing weapon for either Death Blow or Lunging Strike, and a bludgeoning weapon for the other one, right? So I can Lunging Strike with the hammer, Death Blow with the slashing, And then I have one-handed maces to do dual striking, which procs the full walking arsenal bonus of 10, 20, 30% increased damage, and then the 15% on top of that if you have all three of them active for 45% extra damage. So it's a lot of damage, but I will say that this build has a transformation that I anticipated going through, which is swapping back to 3 shouts Iron Skin and then taking Unconstrained and just being Berserk constantly. And that will also give you access to more ways of making use of vulnerability with dual strike. So you can do dual strike applies vulnerability, and you're just going to be Berserk constantly because you have your shout and death blow. It lasts longer. But if you just want to be like Berserk all the freaking time, then you can go Berserk extension with Unconstrained, and it can be a really fun play style for PvP because you're doing more damage, you are taking a little bit less damage, you're generating more resource, and you are running faster. And, you know, so that's pretty cool. I did realize I glossed over this. This is actually pretty important, right? Because you're berserking so often, you can make use of these fun berserking benefits, right? So 3% damage reduction while berserking, you're probably going to max that out, and you can have berserking fury generation, where while berserking fury generation is increased by 18%. You don't have a lot of sources of increased fury generation at low level, but this helps a lot, especially if you decide to go the route of Unconstrained, or you just make good use of your berserk extension with the furious double swing. Now, moving forward into the leveling future, I would want to get movement speed, I would want to get booming voice, I would want to get raid leader, I'd want to max a few these things out. Probably would even go for thick skin and counter offensive because we will be looking to generate more fortify. I would love to get duelist, which is one-handed attack speed. That would be excellent too. Potentially, you maybe would even be putting some points into pressure point if you needed it. But other than that, I mean, and then of course maybe you could do like max life and things like that for PvP, put some more points into some of your main skills. But at this point, so my character is level 31, and I have all of my like renowns done for right now, where I am in like at the game. So the skill points that I have are reflective of that, right? Level 31, and then this. So that's how far we are right now. I have some ideas for this build. This build definitely could pop off. It'll be real fun. Just because I want to review. If you haven't like looked at your expertise and don't know what's like, so the main weapons that you're using are one-handed maces. So you do increased damage to stunned enemies, and you double this amount when using 2 maces. So you're doing like 16% now. When something is stunned, it'll be 20% extra damage to stunned enemies. And as you could tell, you're stunning enemies a lot. And I'm talking about PvE mobs, but I'm definitely talking about players too. Now, Druids got their unstoppable nerf, but I think they can still have a good amount of unstoppable. Barbarians will be unstoppable a lot. But the big dogs, like rogues, who are going to be like the kings of PvP right now, are quite vulnerable to being stunned. So if you want to have a PvP build, you need to figure out how you're going to kill a rogue. And I think this is a rogue killer. This would be a good rogue killer build. So we're going to be doing for PvP, we're going to be doing all of our attacking with one-handed maces, basically. Just dual striking and lunging striking is pretty much it. Having an on-demand stun would be kind of cool, but I think you just go 3 shouts and Iron Skin would be a fine baseline with Unconstrained for Permazerk. That'd be a really smooth, simple play style. Then of course you can add on to that. Another thing I want to mention is if you don't feel like playing Deathblow, which, again, trust me, it will carry you in your leveling process for a long time. You could go Chains. Chains is a similar sort of thing. It applies vulnerability, and it berserks you. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't really generate rage, and it doesn't give you skill that uses a weapon to proc your walking arsenal, but you have options. Anyway, there's a lot of really cool combinations with this build. If you like a little bit of a faster like play style, if you like berserk, if you like proccing stuns, this could be a really good build for you. And just because we went through it and messed around a little bit, we probably could just like walk outside and go beat some stuff up real quick. There's gotta be a dungeon that's like right next to a waypoint, right? But I guess we don't have any right now. Yeah, we could go do this thing. Let's just go to this little malignant tumor thing. And this will give us just a little bit of gameplay to work with. My plan for today, though, and you'll notice I do this, is I make like a build, and then I immediately change it. But I feel like this build's like a fairly solid thing so far. And if you guys are curious, you will always be able to find my build guides on Mobalytics, as well as my YouTube channel. Because Mobalytics has a fantastic like build planner. All right, ignore that legendary ring on the first thing that we did for today. You're not supposed to know about the streamer client, so just go ahead and ignore that. But yeah, Mobalytics has a fantastic build planner. They've been expanding their site to include lots of like really heads up, like you can tell these guys played the game, you can tell they're passionate about the game, changes to make the website better and give us more options on how to how you can find builds and how I can share builds with you. So expect a pretty full loadout of this build. Just missed my death blow, yikes. Here pretty soon on the website. So we are low level, so things are kind of like a little bit slow. But imagine when we get some movement speed, imagine when we get some attack speed on this build. It's going to be crazy. But wait, I do like that we have anemia now. That's like another source of stun that we needed. So we have a lot of stunning, and again, the fact that you stun so much and generate so much rage does kind of open up the possibility of you playing this talent if you wanted to. I don't know if Unbridled Rage would be what I want to play with this, but again, when you're stunning things consistently, you do not struggle with rage, so it could be kind of interesting, right? Like, you don't usually have a chance to just spam your main attack like that while leveling, but with this build you do, right? As long as things are stunned, you can just whack them, and things should be stunned a fair amount. The one thing I'm not doing right now is making good use of my my walking arsenal bonus, but that's the idea. So this build, again, we'll put the video up on YouTube for you guys, and we will make a little Mobalytics build guide as well. We did put on a bunch of aspects, and again, the aspects that I put on there were kind of like, if you want to put aspects on your gear, here's some good ones to look out for. That's kind of funny that even with maces, Dual Strike still like cuts enemies in half. It's kind of cool. So a little bit of Berserk, a little bit of Enrage. I think I'm still, right now I'm using the Death Blow that gives me rage, but I don't think I need that anymore. I like it, but I think for this particular thing, what we want is Berserk extension. That way we can just keep on being Berserk. But yeah, so I'll make the little build guide on Mobalytics. It'll show you I think the main thing that you need to know is just like the talent setup, right? But it'll have like Malignant Heart setups on there. It'll have the aspects set up on there. When we get to high enough level, it will have the Paragons on there. But their build planner is fantastic. They're doing a great job with it. So if you're in Twitch right now, you can type !D4 planner and check it out. Get a good look at it. But yeah, this is the build. You spend very little time like just kind of not having, you know, buttons to press, which feels good. And if you ever don't have buttons to press, you just press Lunging Strike to generate, you know, Fury anyway. But in doing so, you will very likely stun the target because they'll be bleeding, so they can suffer from anemia. They will be, you know, also have a chance to stun with your bludgeoning weapon, and basic attacks have a pretty high lucky hit chance. And the bludgeoning effect is like a 45% chance to stun. And then if that's all, you know, well and good, you have your on-demand stun to press every, like, you know, couple seconds. So it's really nice to have so much Berserk uptime and so much, that's big damage. So much opportunity to just, you know, not run out of Fury. I could just stun this guy, make it easy. But yeah, I don't think I necessarily recommend the Dervish, like the little Dust Devil thing, but it's kind of cool. And I think there's like a Dust Devil that's for like Double Swing in particular. So you could have the random one that generates, you know, that you proc it with your next core skill if you're generating a certain amount of Fury, which has natural synergy with Dual Swing. Double Swing, I always like call it like Dual Strike, like PoE. Has natural synergy there. So it could actually, you could actually have a pretty good Dervish build, I feel like, with this build. But it is real smooth, it's really fun to play. And so what I'm imagining is that what'll happen, right now, this is kind of the pace of the game. I feel like I may have skipped one of those hearts, but whatever. The pace of the game is kind of here right now, and your build is only going to increase in speed, in terms of kill speed and whatever else, right? And movement speed, so it should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to this build. I think it'll be great in PvE, but again, I think it's also going to be a really good one for PvP, with a few changes. I don't think that I'll play quite as many of these things in like these skills in PvP, like Death Blow and Stomp. I don't know if I'll really do that. Like, it'd be cool if you could pull it off, but it just might not be worth, really. But we will see. We will see. Just bonk this guy, get some stuns on him. We will see. Wait, we gotta get this thing too. But alright. Another thing that you might want to think about is with your aspects. Like right now, I'm using the shout generator, or the shout generate fury one, and I'm using that because I want some fury generation that will work with my build, and it just comes from the codex anyway. However, there is a legendary power that gives you fury while berserking, up to 6 fury per second while berserking, and that is really, really good. With this build, especially if you get extra fury generation on your gear, like, that will be crazy. Probably even better than the shout one. And it also frees you from having to do 3 shouts if you don't want to do 3 shouts. So, very cool. Some strong potential for the build in terms of its growth and options in terms of how to switch away from some of the other things that you may have already played or may be tired of, or just, you know, want to do something unique. I think this build offers you that opportunity. So this is the kind of leveling build version of it. The PvP build version of it will be coming out soon. But that's a little bit of a guide, a little bit of gameplay to get us started. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you do show the video some love when it pops up on YouTube. And there should also be a Mobalytics build guide link below that you guys can check out on my Mobalytics profile. So I've already posted a bunch of builds to Mobalytics. But what I'm going to be doing for Season 1 onward is actually, they've added a profile thing now, so I can actually populate Bajheera's profile with my builds, right? My profile with my builds. You go search Bajheera's builds on my profile, and you'll see all my builds, like all iterations of the dual strike or double swing build that we're going to be working on, at least at the beginning of Season 1 here. It should be really, really fun. Really, really cool. All right, enjoy.